Welcome back again to the StarLadder I-League Invitational Season 4. We're going to be hopping into game number 1 here of our actually only series of the day today, believe it or not. We've only got one best of 3 today, and it's going to be compLexity facing off against Immortals. This match was actually scheduled for yesterday, but as we've all seen in the recent past, there's sometimes scheduling concerns, and this one had to be moved to help people out. So yeah, it's going to be taking place now. Semifinals. Winner is going to move on to face Animal Planet.
What is a schedule, really?
Yeah.
What is time, really?
I mean, it seems like a shame to not mention at least the craziness that's gone on. We casted the first of the Animal Planet.
I mean,
versus
StarLadder is kind of on the outskirts of it all. You know, it's not directly involved. It was, you know, it's a tournament that had some qualifiers, and all of them have been played so far, and then they were able to reschedule it because I hear that StarLadder admins are very reliable people, so...
It's true. There was actually one that was forfeited, and it was actually compLexity that took the forfeit. They beat out Carlton Esports, or no, what was it, 5... God, why am I always forgetting this name?
5 seconds remaining.
5 Turtles.
5 Turtles, that's the one. But yeah, I mean, even showing that, like, there's not always going to be a perfect solution. They wanted to play in the open qualifiers. That adds a whole nother wrinkle to it, honestly. Like, we see online right now, there's a lot of people that are upset about the way that the qualifiers are working. They're jealous of the people that are getting directly invited, because that means that they don't have to play in qualifiers. But then the people that are even directly invited to the qualifiers for the event have an upper hand over the people that have to play through the open qualifiers. So there's levels of this that drop down pretty low, which is it's just a giant mess, basically.
Yeah. Although, I guess in wake of the initial, because I know that this was an issue during the last wave of qualifiers, which was like after TI there was that period of downtime when nothing was happening, and then some qualifiers started up. And obviously every single tournament was trying to get in the door before all the LAN events happened. And so North America was kind of bypassing all the stacking, but I know like Saxa on, I believe he was on mid or feed at the time. That was a team that had like star power and fame and still had to go through open qualifiers. And so, you know, like your public perception also affects how people will listen to your plight. Right. And so Animal Planet and Optic Gaming are both well-known squads, and so people were like, dude, what the hell? Yeah. But what happened earlier with like HFZ, people didn't really know HFZ, and they're like, oh, well, you know, rules are rules, what are you gonna do about it? And so there's no real clear solution, but it's a whole bunch of people trying to find whatever works best.
Yeah, it makes me want to vomit. Honestly, it's just too much. It's just all too much. But anyways, we'll get into this game now. It's compLexity versus Immortals. We got Sand King, Clockwork, Skywrath Mage, and now a Lycan Taken. Very different drafts from what we've seen previously, I think, even from these two teams. Actually, we haven't seen a lot of compLexity or Immortals recently, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about, like, these are two of the powerhouses in North America as well. There's been a lot of talk about Optic as well as Animal Planet. compLexity showed up on LAN and was, you know, beating down fools left, right, and center. Immortals, you can never underestimate the run at you Dota style. I can't wait to watch this. This is going to be great.
Yeah, and this qualifier specifically is pitting basically all the North American, quote, powerhouses, but none of them have yet to really prove it by winning any DPC points, but that plus Evil Geniuses, I'd say, those are the top 5 names that people are looking at as Optic, Animal Planet, Immortals, compLexity, and EG. So this is the other side of the bracket, as we did see Animal Planet on Optic yesterday, and Immortals have actually yet to drop a single game with MSS on their roster. Now, granted, their opponents have not been, you know, particularly established. They beat out Carlton Esports with their StarLadder qualifier in this qualifier. They beat out 5 Turtles in their PGL Bucharest major qualifier. And they beat out Mind's Eye Dota in their Katowice qualifier for ESL. And so throughout all 6 of those games, they haven't dropped a single one. That's, pretty respectable, even though it's a more well-known squad going up against a lesser-known squad. It's still, it's not easy to not drop a single game, and Immortals are going to find their most important challenge here in this series.
Well, and at times, even in the game that we saw them play just the other day against Carleton, it looked like Immortals were potentially going to end up losing out and losing the game, but they were able to pull it together just because of the way that their style of Dota. It's so
5 seconds
chaotic
remaining.
feels like a sort of a cheap word. It's so high paced, so high energy that in an instant things turn around, and then it's like the enemy team is stuck in quicksand and they just start falling deeper and deeper into this trap of trying to keep up with Immortals that are then able to, take objectives, find multiple kills, build a huge gold advantage. And previously it was off of heroes like Bounty Hunter, but that was first phase banned out by
10
compLexity.
seconds remaining.
Now with the tiny take, compLexity are going to go with the answer of the Witch Doctor. A
5
really good hero
seconds
against this guy.
Yeah, and I assume that Kyle has probably done his homework even beyond Immortals' recent game, and because one of the Achilles' heels of the MVP squad is that, once you kind of understand how that high-paced Dota works, it's kind of predictable the way that Immortals will play, or formerly MVP. That entire playstyle, it's not entirely predicated on a draft, but it's kind of predicated on shot calling within the game. Like, is your team able to, stay mentally strong, or do you get caught in that quicksand, like you mentioned, where you're just like, well, they just keep throwing bodies at us. I mean, like, why are they doing that? It's not optimal. You keep dying, but why are we losing at the same time?
Right.
And so there is a different kind of adaptation that you have to see.
5
And
seconds
I
remaining.
was skeptical if MSS would be able to meet the demands of Immortals, but as you said, he seems to be gelling fairly well in their early games, and they are gonna hand him either a Clockwork or a Tidehunter. Again, like, I haven't really seen any of this Immortal squad play yet, so we'll see what they want to do with their offlaner.
Yeah. I would assume it's the Tide, just, I don't know, but it seems like it makes more sense. And there's a lot of kill potential, I think, early on with a Clockwork Sky combination. Run around, maybe get a Cogs pushback or trap somebody in there. An Arcane Bolt's just a lot of damage. But yeah, I think that, it's sort of a testament to how scary that style of Dota can be, that I remember running into a couple of different teams and people were saying, like, you forget about it. You forget what it feels like to play against it, because it does feel different when you're in the game playing against that style, and then you suddenly get caught out. Like, even on LAN events, people were saying that, like, if they've done all this preparation, they know what they're supposed to do, and they're still able to put up good results because they sort of, I don't know, it's like you have to sort of go through a period of becoming accustomed to it again.
It's immersion therapy.
Exactly, yeah. But Death Prophet is going to be the next pick.
Yeah, all these picks are very already, like, kind of engineered. I mean, maybe we're just, like, putting it in a box because we know how Immortals plays, but, like, Lycan with Howl, fantastic at being able to turn around gank attempts because you're raising everyone's HP. Witch Doctor with Cask, that's one of the best spells that you can have whenever heroes are diving you underneath towers, especially tanky heroes like Tidehunter and Clockwork, because they'll just continue standing around and being a meat shield for a Cask target. And Death Prophet as well, with Spirit Siphon charges, being able to not only move you out of the area, but possibly even turn it around with the HP regen that it provides.
Yeah. No, it's quite good. And I think that other thing is just having those ultimates that are on clear timings. This is where we're going to push. This is where we're going to stay back. It fits well against the style that you know is going to come from Immortals. compLexity, one final pick. I'm assuming that this is going to be the Z-Freak hero. Obviously, Z-Freak can play Sand King, but I think that that's much more the type of hero that they want to put Moo on.
Radiant team pick.
I don't know, Enchantress maybe?
Pick.
Omni Knight.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so Immortals did ban out Razor last pick, and with a Death Prophet already seen, I have seen some success with Razor offlane. It's actually, like, very irritating to play against if you don't have the right heroes, and Immortals don't have the right heroes to deal with Razor offlane, and so, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a Moo hero, and it's going to be Z-Freak Sand
5
King.
seconds
All
remaining.
right. So very different. I want to see what the Omni Knight build is that he goes for, because like I feel like in all the games I've seen him move, he always goes like drum, solar crest, or like these types of big supporting items. If he wants to switch it up at all,
Choose
they're
your
gonna
hero.
take the QO Bloodseeker. Could it be anything else to try and deal with the Lycan?
Immortals knows what they likes. That's for sure.
Yeah. This is a strong combination, though. Sand King and Omni Knight. If they want to run those two together in a lane, Limp is on a strong enough hero. I think that he can survive mid, no problem.
Yeah, if Skywrath Mage wants to be dedicated to the mid lane and just tossing arcane bolts all day long, that's fine, because that means that Moo's going to be getting a lot more done. And like you said, the roaming combination of Sand King and Witch Doctor are very effective, even just at like level 1.
Yeah.
The thing is that Immortals heroes are pretty tanky. Bloodseeker's probably the easiest target,
10
especially if you can
seconds
find an
remaining.
opening whenever he has Blood Rage on himself. But Skywrath Mage is like, he's very, very fast, extremely high move speed, and even with like Boots Windlace, without a few points in Burrow Strike, the Sand King is not going to be able to catch up to get a lead stun. And Clockwork, Tiny, Tidehunter, these heroes are all pretty difficult to find avenues on in the early game, so we'll see who compLexity want to bully early on, but I think that's what they should do. I think they should be the ones bullying. I think if they try to play reactive, it's not going to work out in their favor, because Skywrath is just like much quicker overall, not just in terms of move speed, but like, it's not a commitment at all to toss a few arcane bolts and chip a hero down.
Yeah. Can I just say real quickly as well, I was like looking at the Skywrath Mage during the opening, and it was like so serene and nice and pretty looking.
And
As
it turns red and angry.
I feel like I'm
Use
having a
God's
seizure.
strength.
What the hell is going on? All these particle effects and everything.
Yeah,
Monstrosity.
I've never grown accustomed to the Legion Commander set. I really like I don't mean to be like ill. I don't mean to be mean whoever made the set, but like he made a blue version also, and it looks so much better. I don't know why Valve added the red one. It is so aggressive, unnecessarily so, for a hero who's he's a chill guy.
Yeah. Z Freak. Moving in here. Does MP realize? I don't think so. But they're not seeing anybody in the jungle, so he's got to be aware that something's going on. Yeah, he's just hiding way back in the trees. I don't want none of your guys' business. And they'll just trade off bounty runs most likely.
So Z-Freak started out with Boots and a Clarity, which it doesn't tell you much right away, but it does mean that he's most likely not going to be like sitting in a lane for the first 30 seconds or so. He's gonna find out where Immortals are planting their heroes, and now that he's spotted out the Tiny, he may decide to stay top for a little bit to make sure that Tiny doesn't get very much done, which, if they leave this Tiny solo, he's gonna get bopped by an Omni Knight, that's for sure. And so, I'm surprised that MP is not, like, none of the support heroes are down here, up here with Tiny right now, because Tiny's a hero that will get zoned out at level 1, especially, like, Sand King himself will already be a problem, but looks like they're actually sending Chessie, and thinking about an aggressive tri-lane, perhaps.
It's the cult of QO. That's what I've heard, I think, Scant call it before, where everything that you do in this game is about enabling QO, and so they're just going to continue with that trend and, sack MP and the safe lane Tiny. I mean, again, it's not necessarily the thing that you normally see, but it's what they're deciding to do this time around, and most other times as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, early on, Bloodseeker definitely can't deal with this kind of aggression, but he's a hero that can come back relatively easily. Like, the laning phase isn't that critical for a Bloodseeker. Sure, you may delay your level 6 somewhat, but he's a hero that can farm the jungle fairly well, and, like, fairly safely, too.
Yeah. Push back here with the cogs on the move. He's showing one-on-one against the Tidehunter, and yeah, he should be able to farm really effectively here. QO is going to eat one of those tangos and just try and make sure. Oh, Limp just messed up there. He wanted to place down a branch, but he accidentally TP'd on the spot, and then afterwards did it.
As Febby rolls in.
Yeah. Nothing really doing
That's
that.
I'm definitely saying the cults. These guys have drank the Kool-Aid for sure. Because Clockwork roamed all the way here, which overall seems kind of unnecessary. It's not like a Clockwork can do very much. He's kind of just running laps around the mid lane. He has boots, which helps, but like it's just level 1. You don't even have a point in battery, so all you're doing is mana burning.
Out, Kyo taking some damage early on here. They've got the Spirit Siphon onto him as well, very low, and with the Maledict. He shouldn't die here, I don't think, but he's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, these early wand pickups are making such a huge difference for mid laners these days. Like, it used to be, well, the hero on the other side of the mid lane, casts spells a lot. And that's still, like, a big reason about why you do it, but the passive HP regen from wand is so early.
Oh my god, he's about to dive the base for the courier. Febby Dota, they're running around. Can he get it? No, he's decided to run away. That was not meant to be. You're dead. Oh god. Denied? I saw him and I was like, alright, he's going in. He got that haste rune.
Well, it's nice to see that some things never change. Poor guy. That creep wave just came at that precise moment. I'm sure if he didn't have to struggle with clicking near all these other creeps and getting body blocked by them, then he would have probably been able to get that courier kill. But whatever, right back to the mid lane he goes.
Yep. While top, they brought in a little bit of help. Throughout all this, it's not actually been that bad for the Tiny. He's been able to stay pretty good on CS with the tree grab and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why they dodged the Tidehunter lane and ended up sending the Omni Knight down there as Febby again rolling in.
Well, push back. A little bit of damage there from Kyo. He has 2 points in Thirst, but isn't going to be able to make anything happen. And now the Burrow Strike, the rotation's coming back in. QO in trouble. Stick not going to be enough to keep him alive. And 3 heroes mid appears to be the answer.
Well, 6 heroes mid, I guess, technically. Yeah, it's the answer. Ends up getting a kill onto the QO Bloodseeker, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. The most important thing is that compLexity aren't, like, babysitting this death process. They're coming in and out. I think one of the biggest traps that a lot of teams fall for these days in this, meta of a whole bunch of heroes mid is now Tiny's taking a bunch of Maledict damage.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that if you are babysitting your mid, it's okay to let your support hero, like, not get experience. And so the best thing you can do is, like, stay as far from the creep wave as you can while still providing a lot of pressure. And so far the Skywrath has been able to do that for Immortals, just unfortunately timing a little bit late that Bloodseeker dies. And the Sand King and Witch Doctor have been doing that for Limp. And so even though there's a lot of activity in the mid lane, both these mid laners are still getting a lot of experience by themselves.
Yeah, and that's a very important part of it too, like Kyo being able to move around once he gets that level 6 and trying to find kills with Rupture. You're gonna have to be real careful, make sure they're holding on to those TPs, which they are right now. So top lane, MP against Chessie, they're gonna
mid
keep
lane
battles. Are they
got Burrow Strike in on this blood raged up Bloodseeker.
Really bad.
He's gonna go down again.
Oh,
and
man.
You and your little ward.
Oh man.
Now they see Z-Freak, but he's got 2 points in Burrow Strike.
Although they do get a long
silence duration
silence.
is not enough.
Yeah. Well, this is not looking so good right now for Immortals. It's 1,000 gold lead already, 4-0. 1,000 is actually not as bad as it could potentially be, but it feels like it's definitely trending upward, unless we see some type of a change. And honestly, at this point, they can just keep doing this over and over again. He keeps coming mid, and they're not able to make any type of a turnaround. People's going to take a ton of damage from this. Has stick charges still. Looks like he will be able to live through it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
he was doing the math for that one.
Tempted
Not blinking. Well, he'll be able to shrine up now, as it has been 5 minutes, but it's a lot of pressure, and I think MP is probably going to have to be the hero to react accordingly. The thing is that someone is going to have to stay in this lane with Chessie, otherwise if you leave Lycan alone, he's going to just mow down your tower.
Right.
And so, Lycan has nothing better to do. He will stay in this lane until the end of days. He's gotten enough of like experience as now a cast comes in on the top lane. Fortunately does not bounce back to him. Z-Freak.
Oh, they got the Maledict on him too. That's more than enough damage. He's gone. MP dead. And 5-0. The hits keep coming.
Z-Freak with Arcane Boots already. This is such a comfortable place to be as a Sand King. Like I said, he's not interested in staying in one place at the right time. It's just Complexity are doing a really good job at making sure that Z-Freak is wasting as minimal time as possible. Like, he's not... I haven't seen him, like, stand around in one place at all. He's been constantly... I've been seeing all 6 of his legs moving all game long, and he's just always in the right place at the right time to find kills.
Well, the plus side is you do have MSS level 6, so if there's going to be a rotation and another dive for a kill... The thing that's weird about it, though, is there hasn't actually been that many dives, with the exception of the attempt on the courier in the mid lane. All of it's been like...
shapeshift attempt on Skyrath in the top lane.
It's like he's going to be okay there. But the thing that's been weird about it, as Kyo is going to get hit again mid, is that it's all tended to be pretty measured aggression. It's all happening like in the middle of the river where Kyo is getting caught out.
Yeah, and that's also the beauty of Maledict, is like, you really need to just put in the bulk of your damage in like the first... Oh man, Kyo might go down to a Crypt Swarm, or it's down. You don't need to commit that hard. You don't need to go underneath the tower, because you know that as long as you spend all your burst damage early on, after that Maledict comes out, then the hero is probably going to die once they back off regardless. And so all this damage is coming in like at the river or at the side shop before Tiny can reach his tower.
MSS again hanging on to that TP. It looks like he's going for... Well, he has a chainmail, so maybe a mechanism, but it could also be towards the solar, rather a medallion.
Physical damage is a lot of value, so I would expect a medallion. Especially since he also maxed out Anchor Smash, so he can, you know, farm out jungle camps a little bit faster that way. But I don't think he's, like... He's kind of stuck here. And Tidehunter is so cooldown dependent with Ravage that it's not like, oh, I hit level 6, you know, I got a hookshot, I got a Vendetta, I got, you know, let's make something happen. It's more like, alright, well, I've gotten my Ravage, and, you know, if Death Prophet rolls in with Exorcism or some other big ultimate, then I'll show up and make sure that, you know, she doesn't find any kills or towers, but, like, he is not really going to be able to, like, change the tempo for Immortals quite yet.
And Febby is standing here in the mid lane. QO deciding to walk back in now. That's pushing under, and they're gonna pop the Exorcism Rupture. I don't know what the thought is there. They thought about TPing in.
Oh, but it's canceled up on
walking
top lane.
forward.
MP.
All right. They have Ravage as well, but yeah, the chase there. MP not able to get in to help out his team. And with Chessie finding a double kill here on these guys, they're not able to fight mid.
MSS really wanted to find a Ravage opportunity. Like I said, as soon as he sees Exorcism come out, that's your cue to be like, okay, well, I guess I have to show up and use my ultimate now. It's just that when Ravage is used as like an initiation tool, you aren't really discouraging anyone, because there were 3 heroes from Complexity around that Death Prophet. You know, she's gonna stand there and attack that tower anyway, ruptured or not.
In the jungle now, Moo is running to QO, forces out a shrine, and well, he has stick charges, can decide to get out of here if he wants, or he might just try and push for a little bit more, the chase forward. This could be a bit too far, though. Moo, I mean, he's not afraid of anything, actually. He's gonna walk away.
Repel, Guardian Angel, they don't have any BKB piercing disables besides Hookshot.
Uh-oh.
And now they find Tiny.
Maledict damage is gonna be coming out. He is super dead. No way for him to get out of there at all. Kyle dominating at this early stage. Meanwhile, top lane, Jesse keeps the pressure on Q. He's forced to back out again. If he doesn't get out of here in a second, he's dead. Limp is going to be there. They have this silence. The chase is coming through. They're going to have another clap in a second as well from this guy. That's another kill.
That's how you fight fire with fire. If you switch these 2 team logos around, I'd be like, yep, this is just vintage Immortals Dota right now. But Complexity are giving them a taste of their own medicine, for sure. It's 9-0, 10 minutes in, a 3rd tower about to be claimed. His Lycan has his Helm of the Dominator completed for quite a while and is working on his Necro book afterwards. And all 5 heroes of Complexity are being super active. No one has been sitting around, really.
Dive maybe down bottom as they're going to move in. Z-Freak maybe in a little bit of trouble. Does have a Burrow Strike. Moo is there as well, though. And they don't have eyes on him. Now they see that Moo is here. Purification, and they got to run again. This Omni Knight is just shutting down all aggression. Well, by the way, they're taking down the tier 3 tower in the top lane, and they can't really come back to TP there to help them out yet. They're TPing all the way back to the base. They are going to finally be able to bring back the Tidehunter, but they're going to end up losing more anyways. from worst to worst to worst. compLexity 10-0. It's 8,000 gold lead at 11 minutes.
Poor MSS, he wants to find an opportunity to ravage so badly, but compLexity are refusing to give it to him. Only 2 heroes were spent on that bot lane, the Sand King and the Omni Knight, to stop a 3-hero push from Immortals, and it wasn't even a push because, like you said, the top tier 3 was brought down to like a 5th HP, just based off of the other 3 compLexity heroes, which actually I don't even think it was 3 heroes, it was just the Lycan and the Witch Doctor up there, and it's
No.
it's intimidating for sure.
I mean,
and I don't really know what you do about it.
The thing about this is it's also, you know, you're mentioning that this is somewhat Immortals gameplay. This is also how compLexity played a lot at some of the majors, where they would just run at you and particularly just force objectives, even when sometimes their lanes weren't all the way pushed out. Just sensing any moment where they can try and take advantage, and looks like they're doing it again. Tier 2 tower gone there, the mid tier 1 is gone. If they want to, they can go into Roche, but there's also a good chance that they could just keep finding kills. And like, look at Immortals right now. All 5 of them are just sitting around here in the jungle, and compLexity has the whole rest of the map.
I think they gave MSS a license to be like, listen, I don't care who you find, just ravage someone, because it's not like they hit an item timing. Tiny has nothing. Bloodseeker has nothing. Tidehunter doesn't, all he has is a medallion. So they're all grouping up as 5 because it's just like, we need to find something. I don't care what it is. And it looks like they're going to have to settle for a tier 1 tower in the offlane for Radiant. So it's a compromise at best, but compLexity are much faster pushers than Immortals are with or without any items.
It's also really good warding here by Kyle. He's going to get that one that was already over there in the other base. He's got one over on the shrine and then another one up on high ground. So they're set up to go for a high ground push right now. And with Exorcism, I wouldn't be surprised if they just try and go for it.
Z-Freak doesn't have a Blink Dagger yet, so it's not like you can take too much advantage of that high ground ward, but you know, with Exorcism, with Necrobook level 1, it's not like you really need to be concerned about very much.
Alright, well, tower is starting to fall. Blue is still sitting there. Burrow Strike a little bit off the mark. They're trying to catch Blue as he came back. And now the Rupture. The Witch Doctor Ultimate, though, is also there to try and turn it. The Silence, but they've already taken the tier 3. Exorcism still has a little bit of duration left. But it looks like compLexity, after taking that tower, are just going to back out. And Immortals still struggling to find an answer. 10 kills, 10,000 net worth.
That Cogs by Febby was a bit unfortunate. MSS was like moving towards, I mean, so that was like your best opportunity for a Ravage, right? You see 3 heroes that are easily in the AoE. Maybe you don't have the damage for it, but at least Clockwork has hookshot, so he can, you know, leap on someone in the backlines and kind of box out the compLexity escape. But instead, Clockwork had to use Cogs defensively, and now QO gonna get epicentered straight up.
They missed the Burrow Strike, though, and now the wraparound is coming. This looks kind of okay. The Yule Scepter lift up are going to be able to catch this Omni Knight, but can they burst him down in time? They will be able to. Z-Freak gonna Burrow Strike away as well. The first kill is on the board, and the hook shot to follow. They might be able to find more as Kyle takes down Dubu, though, and Z-Freak finally gonna fall. So 2 for 1. Something for Immortals.
It's a solid 1.5k net worth shift off of 2 heroes that aren't the 1 or 2 position, so yeah, you'll take whatever you can get. It's, that was kind of unclean initiation by compLexity because they didn't even know that Immortals were going for a smoke. It's just that Z-Freak didn't have his Blink Dagger at the time, and so he just kind of guessed where Bloodseeker would end up and miss that Burrow Strike. If they were able to get that Burrow Strike off successfully, then I think that would have been another failed fight for Immortals, but compLexity are reacting, you know, aptly. They know that Ravage is down now, so they have absolutely nothing to be concerned about whenever they go into the pit.
Yeah, and I mean, Clockwork Hook is down too. They're going to be able to take this free.
They got flared and they're like, just look at me take this from you.
The other thing is that you do have that Blink Dagger done on Z-Freak now. So Blink Dagger, Urn, Wand, Arcane Boots, he's incredibly farmed. Everybody's incredibly farmed. I will say the Death Prophet may be a little bit under farmed, but I think a lot of that is just because she's been like moving from lane to lane to lane and not really sitting hitting creeps at all. It's been much more just trying to take objectives instead.
Yeah, and it's okay to have one underfarmed core because your Omni Knight is so farmed in comparison. Omni Knight has, I mean, the 2 offlaners are comparatively second and third place in net worth because of how like unimpeded they were during the laning phase. But complexity's offlaner is able to do so much more just by the nature of the hero. Like, Mu hasn't even had to use Guardian Angel a single time. Not like there's that much physical damage to be concerned about. There's a rupture on Limp, but again, he's exorcismed up. He doesn't care about moving.
Oh, and he wanted the toss back. He's gonna find it though. Not bad. That's a good way to burst through him. Can they find the kill? They will be able to. But Chessie has already taken the melee barracks, and MP is going to pay for his indiscretions as they are able to find that deal with the Maledict. Maybe not. Maybe he lives through it. Now it's still going to end up being a kill. 2 for 1. Full set of barracks gone. And the rest of complexity is going to hightail it out of there. Well, Z-Freak is still behind enemy lines. They have a ward here. He could go for a kill. No, that'd be the death of him. But Kyo has his Radiance Relic Gold now.
Radiant's bottom
Okay.
tower is under
I mean,
attack.
I don't think that
Dire's
complexity are
top
very
shrine
concerned
is under
about
attack.
Radiance damage right now. Especially because, I mean, they've equipped for whatever is the future for Immortals. Like, you know, Mu, he's maxed out Purification, which sometimes we see different builds. I mean, he's level 11 regardless, so he has got 2 spells maxed out,
Dire's
but
top
he's doing
shrine
fine. You've
is
got
under
Helm of the
attack.
Dominator Aura, which everyone has forgotten about after Helm of the Dominator
Dire's
fell off the
top
map,
shrine
but it's
has
8
fallen.
HP regen per second,
Dire's
which is
middle
quite a
tower
bit
is under
in
attack.
form of an aura. They do see Mu now, but it's difficult to hookshot a target that also has a 4-step, so they let him go.
Z-Freak runs into MP for a second there, and they're going to blink away. Burrow Strike is on to QO. He's in trouble. Needing to run, has his relic, but again, probably going to end up paying for this one. He's trying to get the hell out of there, but is going to end up dying nonetheless. Now the Witch Doctor ultimate off to the side. Dubu is going to be able to get the silence off, but not before he goes down as well. They've caught themselves another. MP is gone. This game is feeling pretty close to over. GG is called.
Wow, it's definitive. 18, 19 minute GG. This is why those delays matter, you know? Because like in a perfect world, a draft plus a theoretical 19-minute GG. I mean, that could have been a whole game.
Yeah.
You can't sit around and be like, well, you know, we gotta sit and wait for the entire delay. Wait a whole 40 minutes. Nah. If you're playing like Complexity is playing, you got places to go. You got Dota to win.
Absolutely. Well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another quick one going the other way in the next series. It might be the other direction, though, honestly, the way that these two teams play. So much dependent upon draft and laning decisions. Big shout out to Kyle in that one. His decision about moving around 7-0-7. His warding was really, really solid as well. No other person bought support items. So very impressed with his play in this one and the shot calling and the way that they set it up.
Yeah, I liked I definitely like Complexity's draft, but the Tidehunter pick in the Immortals draft seems like an oddball because it's so heavily cooldown dependent, and you know it can't like sure it's a hero that can like soak up damage and tank whenever you're diving and stuff like that, but I definitely that was like there was nothing MSS could do, but I would like to see a more active offlaner for MSS perhaps in the next draft.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for game number 1, Complexity facing off against Immortals. We'll be back in just a little bit for game number 2. Winner of this one is going to face Animal Planets in the grand finals, and the winner of that is going to be going to the StarLadder Minors. Stick around, everybody. More action to come right after this.